Mama Bears out there. It's Nicole here with Cub Dream It. It is a Sunday afternoon and I'm supposed to get snow. I've been in my house all weekend. It's just my kids and I. They're on Christmas vacation. Well, I mean, it's the weekend. They'd be home anyway. But my husband is down in San Diego and I have been working on my book. So I've had no reason to do my hair or get dressed for anything. So I got a hat on my head today to kind of cover up my awful hair. I did manage a little bit of makeup for you all. And I'm just wearing like my college frumpy t-shirt here. So I know though that as other moms out there, this has been you too. And I know that you're not judging me. So I wanted to pop on today. It's been a little bit, you know, we've had the Christmas holiday in here and I've also been dealing with some laryngitis. And so you probably wouldn't have been able to hear or understand me a week ago. You can probably still pick up a little bit of my scratchy voice. I kind of sound all sultry. But today I wanted to get on and talk about something that I was really surprised to learn. And that is that research now points to multiple origins, multiple biological origins in the brain for dyslexia, depending on the written form of language. So how did I even stumble across this, right? My children are in a Chinese immersion program. So my son, he's a fourth grader. This is his 5th year in the program, including kindergarten. And it has been really amazing over these years to watch him grow and develop his language skills, his foreign language skills. And it's fun. It's really fun and it's impressive. You know, when he talks with other children that are in the program as well and can speak the Chinese language, when he talks to his teachers, interns, other staff at the school. There's a restaurant in town and it's a Chinese restaurant and many of the employees speak Chinese. And so my friend and I, her kids are in the program as well, we'll take the kids up there to dinner and all of a sudden all of our little kids start ordering in Chinese and it always blows the servers away. Like little blonde-haired, blue-eyed, freckled kids in Salt Lake City, Utah are just not who they are expecting to start rattling off in the Chinese language. But so anyway, where I'm going with this is that my son, who is dyslexic in English, does not have the same struggles in the Chinese language. And I was surprised by this because Dyslexia International shows that approximately 15% of the global population is on the dyslexia spectrum. And so if it's a universal struggle, why wouldn't my son struggle in both languages? So this prompted me to look into this. And that's where I found that research now points to different biological origins depending on the written language. So the Chinese language is graphic or character in form. It's called logographical, and the English language is called alphabetic. And there are so many characters in the Chinese language, and children, Chinese learners, will spend the first 6 years of compulsory education mastering the most common 3,000 characters. So that is just so many when you compare it to the 26 letters of the alphabet in the English language. Science or MRIs that have been conducted on both alphabetic learners or readers and logographical readers will show that different parts of the brain are stimulated by those different forms of written language. So alphabetic readers, it is the left temporal parietal region of the brain that is stimulated for dyslexic readers. But in Chinese, it is the left middle frontal region that is actually stimulated when it comes to written language. So Chinese language maps characters. There is the pinyin version, or there's pinyin when it comes to Chinese, which uses the alphabet for their characters, but the sounds, the phonetic sounds don't translate the same as they would in English. So logographical language maps characters, and alphabetic language maps sounds. So in English, all 26 letters of the alphabet have their own sound. Those sounds can change and be manipulated depending on combinations of letters. But when we look at a word, we read it because we map the sounds out that the word makes. So it processes differently in the brain. So what I've learned is that you can be dyslexic in English and not in Chinese, and vice versa. They're not the same across the board. So just because you struggle in one language doesn't mean you don't have the capabilities of mastering it in another language. You know, and let me just say for the record, and I've stated this before, that dyslexic readers, it's a severe reading disability. That's what dyslexia is. But it's among people with normal intelligence levels and most often, standard schooling opportunities. So that was just really surprising to me. And I understand it differently now, like why my son can be successful in one language while having a hard time in the other language. And when I first started with the psychologist down in Salt Lake City, I had actually asked about the Chinese program for Cohen, because I was concerned that maybe learning a second language was making it more difficult for him to master his first language. And she had said very adamantly, no, like keep him in the program. As long as he's succeeding in that program, keep him in it, because learning that language is going to stimulate his brain in ways that reading in English do not. And it's going to make him more well-rounded. I mean, it's going to make anybody more well-rounded when they can read multiple languages. But in terms of what it does for his brain, it's a really good thing. It's a strength. It's an opportunity to master something that he struggles with in his own language. And so she had absolutely was very adamant saying, no, keep him in the program. This is really, really good for him. So, fortunately in our culture, in the Western culture, and in the United States, there's been very thorough research, a lot of research on dyslexia and how it impacts readers. We are raising awareness all the time. Dyslexia is still very misunderstood with the general population, but it's changing, and that awareness is growing, and that understanding is growing. And, that's really the point of Cub Dream It here, is to highlight what it is and our journey and how we can help each other. But in other cultures, many other cultures, Chinese included, there is less awareness, less understanding, less research, less knowledge of dyslexia, even though it's estimated that 11 to 15% of the population struggles even in the Chinese language with the Hanzi characters. And so it's a huge disservice to readers in any other culture when there's very limited information and understanding of what this is. So it just generally, these children grow up and they're just at a disadvantage because they're not getting the support and help that they need because of limited information. And so I just, I can't really do a lot about that. I have very little to no influence, but I did still find it really interesting, and I wanted to share this information with you because it was something I never knew. And maybe your children don't speak a second language. Maybe they will when they get older. But just know that because they struggle in one area doesn't mean that they're going to in another. They can still master those and be successful. It really just comes down to the support that we offer our children and the opportunities that we give them. So with that in mind, I just want to say have a great rest of your weekend. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Have fun. And I will talk to you all in 2019. 2019, how is that happening? Where does the time go? Anyway, like I said, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.